as I came back, I was so thankful. I was so happy for been given that experience, but I didn't know how to say thanks. And I'm a mess, bro. Like, I'm literally a mess. Okay. So I'm crying. I'm waking up. I'm being reborn. I am back in my body. And I don't know how to, speaking of Catholic school, I don't know how to give thanks right now.
But you're also probably trying to like hang on to what you can of the story and remember what you can of the story while you're also trying to figure out how to thank God for the experience he just gave you. So, dude,
Yeah,
that's a lot of emotion.
a lot of confusion, and so I'm sitting there, and what do they teach us? Catholic school. I say to myself, I have to give them the sign of. I have to say the sign of the cross, right? This is where I'm taught about the 4 stars from earlier when it happened. The 4 stars were the
It
Trinity
all
of
met
love.
together. Okay.
I also am thinking here, I am like, so before I say the sign of the cross, I'm like, and I think of the cross of the Native Americans, the north, south, east, and west. And I think of the cross, and I don't know what to do. And the only thing in my language that I know, have been taught, is to say the sign of the cross. So
It's
I
also
said,
a little bit crazy, man, that you told me you left out of your head and then you came back through your belly button. When you do the sign of the cross, that's in the name of the Father, that's in the name of the Son. So
yeah,
that's pretty friggin' crazy too.
yeah. And then the heart, when I came back, it was bloomed through my heart to David again. Um, and I said, okay, like, what the man? In the name of the Father and the Son. And I said, wait. I said, something's wrong. And then this is where the story takes a turn, because I had been in heaven with God. But it is at this time now that God came to earth with me. So I
Oh,
said,
shit. I didn't realize that.
we didn't talk about that.
Mm-mm.
So this is where it gets really crazy, bro. So I said, so this is my thought process. This is for name of the Father, Son. There's something wrong. And I'm shaking too, right? So I'm shaking. I don't know what the hell is going on. There's something wrong. And that's when God appears with me on the right side of me. And by that, he's big, right? He's not right here. My whole being now, God has come to earth now with me to speak to me. And God hits me with a nuclear bomb. I'm sitting here like this, and then God was right here.
Okay.
He was
Okay.
on this side, and he took up the whole world. Not, I am here, little Dave. So when I say he's here, it's not like a little
A
guy.
bigger you.
He
It's
was world, bro.
wow.
Right over my head, dude. Oh God, I just zapped myself. He is over me, and so now I'm lightning is going through my body right now. I'm gonna lose my shit right now.
Deep breath, dude. Deep breath. Take a deep breath, dude. We got all the time in the world, dude. Take a sip, take a deep breath.
So when I was in heaven and it was all love, when God came back, he was not around, dude. Like I say, in the name of the Father and the Son. And I say, something's wrong. And he nuked me, dude, with the power of his love and light and lightning. And he exploded me. And he said, I am. And he told me his name. And he said, I am. And he said, say it.
Hi, this is Dave. Sorry for the interruption, but I realized that at this point I forgot one of the most important things that happened in between God telling me to say it and me saying there's something wrong. I said there's something wrong. How could they forget about the mother? That's when God said, say it again. And the story continues.
And I was like, what the fuck is going on, dude? And I say, in the name of the Father, the Mother, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And he says, I am. And he explodes me again. And I am nuked. I am nuked by his light and love. But it ain't fun and games, dude. It's not how heaven was. It was the most terrifying experience. Like, I can't explain how terrible and terrifying this was. And he's communicating to me, and he tells me his name. He names himself to me, and I cannot bring myself to look at. He is right here.
What is his name when he tells you
his name is I am. I am is his name. And he says I am, and he says I don't give a shit what you say. I don't give a shit what kind of sign of cross you say. What you say has no bearing on me whatsoever. I am.
I am.
You are. And I'm like, are you fucking for real? And I curse. And he got the biggest kick out of that, right?
So Moses was wrong. There's no way to kick commandments where do not curse. Curse God, and he was all right with it. He chuckled at you.
I cursed to him. I'm like, I couldn't believe it. And he hit me again. But he hit me again with the laughter. He laughed, and it was like 1,000 lightning and thunderstorms at once. He hit me with the laughter, and it was the laughter that we've all kind of known to our child of
the deep belly laugh.
The scariest, the deep down love of your child just taking you off guard. Like maybe the first time your 3-year-old was like, shit, you know, and you're like, you know, so, but the power of God and the laughter, because it wasn't all like, haha, you know, I was not like that, dude. I want no part of that, dude. You know, if there was a hand coming down after that laugh or what have you, you know, I didn't want no part of that shit. I didn't want no part of that, dude. Like, it was a lot.
Shouldn't have said, bro.
Well, so now it kind of gets into that. Because now he is like, you got to go. You got to go. And you got to tell him. And I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? I'm like, and he said, you know, came to you, dude, and you have got to go and tell them. And I'm like, bro, dude, I'm like, bro, get out of
You
here,
said
bro.
you were trying to reason with God, like reckon with him.
Yes. Well,
Because what did he tell you? What was his message? Like, you got to go. You
you,
got to leave your
I have
house
to leave
now.
everything. I have to leave. I have to leave everything and go. And I'm like, the fuck do you mean, man? And he's like, walk. Start walking. And I'm like, bro, are you? And I'm like, and I am like, is this for real? Like, are you kidding me? And I said, is this for real? And he nuked me again. And then it cleared. And so he's here. These nukes now have brought me across. I am not here yet. Okay. I am not like looking around. I will not look. I don't really realize this till later. I am. So now he is here and he is coming to in front of me. And I am getting nuked with his thunder of I am. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Is this? And I said again, right? And he's laughing now. And is this for real? And then that's when my cousin Scotty comes to me. So on the left side of the father, Scotty appears. And he's happy and young, and he's got his smile on his face. And he's just looking at me like, oh, God. Like, he thinks it's funny that I'm getting nuked by God right now. And
I think he's trying to tell you, like, this is real. You think that was the point?
well, that's what he said. Yeah. So he comes up and his dress, whatever he was wearing, was kaleidoscopes, colors. And he says, yes, David. And I'm like, whoa, holy
Now,
shit.
is this God that said yes, David, or Scotty that said
Scotty.
yes?
Scotty
And
answered
you
my
felt
question.
like you heard it. It was his voice.
I saw
You recognized it.
Yeah. Oh, it was him. I saw him. I would not look at God, but Scotty came to me in the manifestation of physical. And then when he said, yes, David, I came back. I was on the other side of the room having a seizure and crying, wailing and waking up through a seizure, break my chair, and I'm on the other room, and I come back and I start screaming. I will only shed tears of joy, and I am crying, and the tears, as they come out of me, it is the river running. There's a river running out of me, and the feeling of all the sadness, all of the pain, all of anything negative in my whole world was running out of me for the joy of God, of the Lord. And I was bawling and I was feeling better, and I couldn't believe that Scotty had just come to me. I couldn't believe what had just happened to me. And I'm crying and crying and crying, and I'm like, stop. And I stop crying and immediately regret it. And I say, because the feeling, I stopped the feeling, and I don't know what would have happened if I kept crying, but I said, stop.
Okay.
I must hold. I must keep some of these tears in my heart.
Hmm.
And I regretted it, but I didn't regret it. I didn't know. And I am now back, David, completely nuked out of my skull. I have no
All right, so
idea.
now you're back in David, and you say nuked. What does David the person feel from that word nuke that you keep using?
I feel like I've been hit by an atomic bomb, dude. You know,
Pain or just like devastation and loss?
pain and devastation. No, not pain and stuff. Nothing necessarily physical like that. Like I'm physically exhausted, right? I am. Yeah, so I think that would be more it. Like, was I in pain? I had just been to heaven without impure spirit, and now I'm back in this body.
And then just got yelled at and nuked by God.
Right, and then just took the whooping of the century.
Yeah, by the person that just showed you that love can be something that is a thing that people on earth can't even understand, and then the equivalent of what you're saying nuked you. I get why that would be a crazy only way to say it is negative feeling at the end.
Yeah, and I wonder, like no, not negative, pure fear, right? But not negative.
Okay. Fair.
Because the love wasn't, it was one of the lessons that we could talk about forever, and that about the fact that we are here and there is things that he has created for us here and these limitations of the world that we're in. So the love was there, but it was like, this is real in your world. This is the world that you are in now, Dave, that I have created for all of you. So within these confines, that needs to be done, kind of. Okay.
And a story that your story needs to be told is what he told you. Like,
yeah.
Sounds like he said you need to go walk, you said, but he didn't tell you where to walk to. He just said they have to know, like you have to tell the story. Is that
part of me is like, that like he would never leave me hanging. You know what I mean? Like I'll show you, like I didn't worry. I worried. So the problem is that the family, right? So I got a 1.5.
He had a 1.5-year-old daughter.
And so like, okay, leave all of my responsibilities. Like, what are you talking about, dude? Like.
And you actually love your wife. It's not something where you were like, well, I've been wanting to get out of here anyway. You were fearing leaving what you loved.
And everything. Every material thing kind of was what I was told to leave. Like, almost like, take your shoes off, bro, and start walking. The story continues. So here I am, and I don't know what to do now with myself. I am obviously a little bit freaked out, But he had just told me to tell, and I'm like, oh, I got to tell Kelly, like, what am I going to do, At this point, though, too, now, like, when I tell you about the tears and coming back, as I come back here and become more David and distance myself from the experience, I feel a light and love that when I was going to go and tell Kelly, it was joy, the experience was what it was. The fear is what it is, but that's something I haven't really thought about in a while. I think I go into the bedroom and I want to tell them because it's beautiful. I don't want to tell them for any other reason, right? Okay. And I'm like, dude, if I wake Kelly up right now,
she's you crying.
It's they slept through it, and Trey had asked, like, what did Mom do? I'm like, she slept through the whole thing, like, I don't know.
You don't know, though, if you were like saying out loud the things that you were saying while
I
you
do.
were in the
Well,
experience?
that's an interesting point because when I did come back, I was screaming when I came back and was
Okay.
screaming. Again, she's a new mother. Baby's a year and a half. We had just been
Probably
on the
not
road
sleeping
for
a ton. And
15
really,
days.
she's a mother at that point. So probably the only thing that's waking her up is if that baby makes noise.
Yeah.
She doesn't have the capacity to listen outside that room.
They're out, right? And this wasn't God. If God wanted them up, then they would have been up,
Makes sense.
So I go in the room and I'm like, right there, like, I got to wake her up. Like, no, dude, you're crazy. She's going to knock your head off. You've been through enough. So I don't know what to do. Baby Lily's there. So I just go and I scoop up Lily and I give her an angel kiss on the forehead to forehead. At which time, God comes back through my heart, explodes through my head, explodes through Lily's head, and then explodes both of us, blows her heart out, and we have another experience of this explosion of light and love that goes through both of us. And I don't know how much she was or wasn't talking at this point or what have you, but she woke up and she said, "Wow, Daddy," and I said, "Wow is right, baby." And
Now, when you touched head to head, she was still sleeping.
yes,
It was after that all of a sudden now she awoke
right.
and said, "Wow, Daddy."
Yeah, so she woke up from this, became conscious, was like, "Wow, Daddy," and I'm like, I didn't know that was going to happen either. I didn't anticipate that, and
Yeah.
so it
You
was
thought the experience was over at that point.
yeah. I'm like, and I'm like, wow, is right. Like I'm in just as wowed and disbelief as she is, and so, I laid her back down, and then I'm like, I have no idea. And then I have no idea what the hell's going on. I don't know. I don't wake up Kelly. This happens with Lily, and I just have a fire and light burning in my heart that is unbelievable. It's like the aftermath of a nuclear explosion. It's the only way I could think of it. When I say getting nuked, that's what I mean. It was an explosion beyond my comprehension. Okay, so you get sunburn, right? I got nuked. What do they call it when you have the nuclear fallout, radiation? I got
Radiation
radiation.
burn.
I got radiation burn from this, for lack of a better term, right? From this experience now for a long time, and now we're going on 20 years. Okay, but in the days after, I had severe radiation burn, and I was on fire, and my heart was filled with love, right? But fire burning, and I begged God. He's not. One of the things that was revealed to me was how busy God is. So God is busy, and it was almost as if I was a nuisance to him to take the time out of his day, for lack of a better term, to spend time with me, right?
It's probably in your head. I know you feel like you bother everybody. You felt like you're bothering me to do the thing that I was excited and happy to get to do. So I don't know how much of that is in your head compared to how much of that is in God's head, but okay. God, you felt like a nuisance to God.
So I knew he is busy.
I get that.
And to get the one-on-one time, for lack of a better term, was quite a gift, and I don't think he was planning on it. Let's leave it at that. So I'm talking to him the next day, but he ain't there, right? It's not like he's hanging around. Now we're buddies.
Yeah.
So,
okay, it's me
I'm
again.
like, bro, I'm like, dude, I just remember shaking and being like, bro, I can't just start walking right now, dude. Like I'll tell them, right? I'm like, I need time, right? And I was like, and eventually I made a deal to myself. I'm like, dude, you can't keep this radiate. I'm gonna burn out like the sun. I'm gonna burn out. Like I got the fire, and I got to keep the coals, and I got to know that. Listen, nothing's ever gonna change. you can't forget this, and there's no way that you can let yourself, under any circumstances, be told otherwise, and this was for real, and this is what happened. Don't ever let yourself forget. Don't ever let yourself doubt yourself to say, Dave, did this, Dave, I had to make those promises. And those were the deal that I made in relation to not going and spreading this word that I've been told to spread from him, and saying, like, I promise, man, like, let me raise my family. Let me not do this right now. And I don't know if he was happy with that or not, to be quite honest with you. I don't know if
you
I've
never
been
got it.
forgiven or
You didn't
not.
get then nuked again. Like, you didn't get that feeling of the nuclear explosion again after Reckoning, right?
No, we have, it's been one-sided.
But you
Again.
also didn't, right? You also didn't have that love feeling like you had. So this was just you in your head at this point.
Yeah, I guess. I had to come to terms with who I am, who I was going to be and become, and who I was supposed to tell and how I was supposed to tell it, and what was the mission, if there was one. What did he really want me to do? When all said and done here, I guess. And so as I'm, which was been hesitant to tell the story to different people. So this happens, right? The next day, one of the things I'm as all this is still happening, I'm still overcome with the sadness and love for my family, who are still in Exton. I'm in Atlantic City. I have to tell them. My aunt is one of the angels in this world. I got to tell them. So we try with the baby. My family's there for 2 more days. I try to get back out there. We literally went, I think, the Saturday to go out there and tell this story to my family, because, Scotty had come to me again, and we had gone all the way out there, and then there was something at the zoo. There was some kind of thing that there was traffic. We couldn't get by. The baby, we literally turned around and came home.
Oh, shit.
Right. And so there was something going on, and I was so sad because I just wanted to be with my family,
Yeah.
And then so my grandparents were down. It turned out that like 5 days later, I went to my aunts, Kelly, Lily, myself. So there was my grandfather and grandmother, my Babshi and Jaji, were there, and I was able to tell the story. And this is pretty interesting. So I was able to tell the story, and it was crazy and well received. And my grandmother was crying, and my grandparents were very religious, on the Catholic side and everything.
Okay.
But again, a crazy story. My cousin, Scotty's sister, Allison, was there. So we told the story, and then went on with our lives, And then my grandfather was an interesting point. Is my grandfather passed away a few years ago, and while he was dying, my Aunt Joan was up there, and I had asked, does he remember my story? And nobody remembers it.
Wow. Even your Aunt Joan?
And my Aunt Joan and my cousin. So my Aunt Joan asked Allison.
Your cousin doesn't. And how old's your cousin?
He was probably 18 at the time, 20 at the time of her brother died.
Okay.
He was 23. She might have been 20, right? Something like that.
Aunt Joan, how old was Aunt Joan?
Aunt Joan was my age, probably 55 at this point, maybe.
Okay, so there are people who would normally remember a story.
Right. The whole spectrum.
I'll never forget it, dude. So I don't know how anyone could not.
I mean, the bottom line is, everybody was still traumatically affected by it.
True. They were still dealing with the loss of Scotty.
In a big way, too,
and probably in their mind, if it left their mind, they probably thought you told them that story to make them feel less pain.
I wonder. Yes,
I think so, dude.
You always wonder how this story is going to be received, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know, but they don't remember, and so they don't remember making that decision. But since then we've talked about it.
Now, when your pop said he didn't remember that story, did you talk to him about it before he passed, or did you just let it be what it was?
We're still trying. This is after a couple years. We're still, rather than me tell Aunt Joan and then her tell Allison, ideally we were supposed to get together with my judge before he passed away, and I was supposed to tell the story again to everyone, and he passed away before that could happen. So then my cousin's in Virginia, my aunt's still out in Exton, area. But we have literally over the last couple years since then, we're trying to get together, which is one of the reasons that when this opportunity came up with you to record this, I mean, ideally this is something that they can watch, and they don't have to worry about trying to get all in the same thing. There's been quite a few times that things happened, even at my judge's funeral, that I would like to tell the whole family,
But then you're dealing with your judge's death, it's the same thing with Scotty. It's like, that's probably not the time that this should be about, which is good, dude. Now they can watch this, like you said, and then you're going to see them. They can have questions, and you're an open book. So
talking about this stuff really helps, and that's where I was so thankful to you, because it's hard to talk about this stuff to people.
I knew this was your experience, and you were telling me what actually happened.
Well, thank you for believing in me.
No doubt.